The restaurant called Celestial sat in the middle of New York City like a shining gem. Inside, soft lights hung from the ceiling, and the smell of expensive food filled the air. In the center of the main room stood a beautiful black piano. It was not meant to be played by customers, but it made the place look fancy. Amanda Clark moved quickly between tables, carrying plates and smiling at the guests. She was 32 years old with light brown hair pulled back in a neat bun. Her green uniform was clean but a little worn at the edges. She had worked at Celestial for 3 years now. The job paid enough to keep her small apartment and take care of her son, Ethan. "More water, sir?" she asked a man in a business suit. He nodded without looking up from his phone. Amanda filled his glass and moved to the next table. Her feet hurt from standing all day, but she never let it show on her face. Amanda checked her watch. It was almost 4 o'clock. Ethan would be arriving soon from school. Normally her neighbor would watch him, but today she had a doctor's appointment. Amanda had no choice but to have Ethan come to the restaurant and sit quietly in the break room until her shift ended at 6. Near the back wall, at a corner table, sat William Hart. He was alone with a half-empty glass of whiskey. At 45, William was one of the richest men in America. His company, Hart Innovations, made computers and robots that changed how the world worked. People said he was worth over $50 billion. William rarely went out in public. He preferred to stay in his tower working on new ideas. But today he wanted to be around normal people even if he did not talk to them. He sipped his drink and watched the room with cold blue eyes. Amanda did not notice the famous billionaire. She was too busy trying to keep everyone happy. Mr. Peterson, the restaurant manager, was in a bad mood today. He had already yelled at 2 servers for small mistakes. Amanda needed this job too much to risk making him angry. The front door opened, and a small boy with messy brown hair walked in. Ethan was 8 years old and looked just like his mother. He wore a blue school uniform and carried a backpack that seemed too big for him. "Mom," he called, his face lighting up when he saw Amanda. She hurried over, looking nervously at Mr. Peterson's office door. "Shh, honey. Remember what I said about being quiet at Mom's work?" Ethan nodded seriously. "Sorry, I forgot." Amanda led him toward the break room, but they had to pass by the piano. Ethan stopped suddenly, his eyes wide with wonder. "Mom, look. It's even prettier than in the pictures you showed me." His small hand reached out but stopped before touching the shiny black surface. "Yes, it's very nice. Now come on, we need to get you settled in the back." Amanda tugged gently at his arm. "Can I play it? Please?" Ethan looked up with big, hopeful eyes. "No, sweetie, it's not allowed." Amanda glanced around nervously. "Just one song? The one I've been practicing?" "Please, Mom, I'll be super quick." Amanda bit her lip. Mr. Peterson was in his office. Most of the customers were busy talking. Maybe just one quick song wouldn't hurt. Ethan had been working so hard on his piano lessons. They couldn't afford a real piano, so he practiced on a small keyboard they had found at a yard sale. "One very short song," she whispered. "And if I say stop, you stop right away, okay?" Ethan nodded eagerly. Amanda quickly lifted him onto the piano bench. He was still too small to climb up by himself. His feet dangled above the floor, not reaching the pedals. Across the room, William Hart noticed the waitress lifting her son to the piano. He frowned slightly. He didn't like disruptions during his rare outings. Still, something about the care she took settling the boy on the bench caught his attention. The way she brushed the hair from the child's forehead showed such tenderness. William found himself watching them instead of looking away. Ethan placed his small fingers over the keys. He took a deep breath like his music teacher had taught him. Then he began to play. The first notes were soft and gentle, a simple melody that floated through the restaurant. Then, as his confidence grew, the music became more complex. His small hands moved across the keys with surprising skill. Amanda stood nearby, her hands clasped together. Pride shone in her eyes as her son played. She had worked extra shifts to pay for his lessons, seeing how much he loved music. Around the restaurant, people began to notice. Conversations stopped. Forks paused midway to mouths. All eyes turned toward the small boy at the grand piano. William Hart sat up straighter in his chair. Something about the music touched a place inside him that had been closed off for years. The melody was one he recognized, a classical piece his sister used to play. Suddenly he wasn't seeing the waitress's son anymore. He was seeing Lisa, his younger sister, playing at their family piano long ago before the accident that took her away. Ethan's fingers danced over the keys with natural talent. For those moments, he seemed to belong there, as if the expensive piano had been waiting just for him. Then the music stopped. The last note hung in the air like a question. Silence filled the restaurant. Then someone began to clap. Others joined in. Soon the whole place was applauding. Ethan smiled shyly. Amanda quickly lifted him down from the bench, her face flushed with embarrassment and pride. "That was great, honey, but now we really need to go to the break room," she whispered. Before they could move, the door to the manager's office swung open. Mr. Peterson stood there, his face dark with anger. "Clark, what do you think you're doing?" he demanded, marching toward them. Amanda pushed Ethan slightly behind her. "I'm sorry, Mr. Peterson, it was just one song. You know the rules. The piano is for show, not for playing, especially not by children." He glared at Ethan, who shrank back. "It won't happen again, sir," Amanda said quietly. "You're right, it won't. This is your final warning, Clark. One more mistake, and you're done here." Mr. Peterson's voice was loud, enough for nearby tables to hear. Amanda nodded, her face pale. She couldn't lose this job. There were bills to pay, rent due next week, and Ethan's music lessons. William Hart watched the scene unfold. Something stirred inside him, an emotion he hadn't felt in a long time. Without thinking about it, he stood up from his table and walked toward the manager, the waitress, and her son. People recognized him as he crossed the room. Whispers followed him. William Hart, the tech genius. William Hart, the reclusive billionaire. What was he doing? Amanda didn't notice him approach, too focused on her angry boss. She felt a tap on her shoulder and turned around. There stood one of the richest men in the world, looking directly at her and Ethan. Amanda stared at the tall man now standing before her. She recognized him from news stories and magazine covers. William Hart, the man who created computers that could think like humans. His face was serious, with sharp eyes that seemed to see everything. "Excuse me," William said to Mr. Peterson. His voice was quiet but firm. "I couldn't help overhearing." Mr. Peterson's face changed instantly. His angry look disappeared, replaced by a nervous smile. "Mr. Hart, we had no idea you were dining with us today. Is everything to your satisfaction?" William ignored the question. "The boy's playing was excellent. Why would you stop such talent?" The restaurant had gone completely silent. Everyone watched and listened. Phones came out as people began to record what was happening. "Well, sir, it's restaurant policy. The piano is just for show and bad policy," William cut in. "I was enjoying the music." Amanda put her hands on Ethan's shoulders. She wasn't sure what was happening, but she felt she needed to protect her son. "I'm sorry if we disturbed your meal, sir," she said. "Ethan knows he shouldn't have played." William looked at her directly for the first time. His cold eyes softened, slightly. "No apology needed. Your son has a gift." He turned back to Mr. Peterson. "I'd like to speak with you in private, and with—" He glanced at Amanda's name tag. "Amanda and her son." Mr. Peterson nodded quickly. "Of course, Mr. Hart, we can use my office." Amanda felt her heart beating fast. What did this rich, powerful man want? Was he going to get her fired? Or was this something else? "Come on, Ethan," she whispered, taking her son's hand. Ethan looked up at the tall billionaire with wide eyes but didn't say anything. They followed Mr. Peterson to his small office at the back of the restaurant. It was cramped with all four of them inside. Mr. Peterson sat behind his desk, while Amanda and Ethan stood near the door. William remained standing, looking around the plain office. "How long have you been playing piano?" William asked Ethan suddenly. Ethan looked at his mother, who nodded that it was okay to answer. 2 years, sir," the boy said. "But we only have a small keyboard at home. I practice at school sometimes when they let me. William nodded. That piece you played? Mozart? Yes, sir. Piano Sonata number 16. My teacher said I'm good enough for it now. Amanda watched this exchange with confusion. Why did this billionaire care about her son's piano playing? You must be very proud, William said to Amanda. I am, she answered simply. Ethan works very hard. William turned to Mr. Peterson. I have a proposition for you. The manager sat up straighter. Anything, Mr. Hart. I'd like to buy that piano. The three others in the room looked at him in surprise. Buy the piano? Mr. Peterson repeated. Sir, that's a Steinway concert grand. It's worth... I know what it's worth, William said calmly. I'll pay double its value. But there's a condition. He looked at Ethan again. The piano is to be delivered to wherever this young man can use it properly. I assume your apartment is too small? He asked Amanda. Amanda couldn't speak for a moment. This had to be some kind of joke. Yes, she finally managed to say. Much too small. William nodded as if making a decision. Then it will go to his school, or a music center where he can practice. You can arrange the details. Mr. Peterson looked stunned. Sir, I'll need to speak with the owner about this. Do that, William said. He took out a small silver case from his pocket and removed a business card. He handed it to Amanda. Call my office tomorrow. My assistant will help arrange proper lessons for your son. Amanda stared at the simple white card with black letters. I don't understand. Why would you do this? For a moment, William's face showed something like pain. Then it was gone. Your son has talent. Talent needs the right tools and teachers. He turned to leave but stopped at the door. One more thing, Mr. Peterson. The manager looked up nervously. Yes, sir. Amanda keeps her job. In fact, she gets a raise and more flexible hours so she can take her son to lessons. William didn't wait for an answer. He walked out of the office, through the restaurant, and to the door. People watched him go, whispering to each other. Before leaving, he stopped at his table and left $500 for a bill that was probably less than $100. Then he was gone. Back in the office, Mr. Peterson looked at Amanda with new eyes. Well, he said, it seems you have a powerful friend now. Amanda still couldn't believe what had happened. I don't know him. I've never met him before. Mom? Ethan tugged at her sleeve. Are we in trouble? She bent down to his level. No, honey. I think something amazing just happened. She looked at the business card again. It simply said, William Hart, CEO, Hart Innovations, with a phone number. The next day, Amanda called the number with shaking hands. She expected to get a secretary or answering machine. Instead, a woman answered and said, Ms. Clark, we've been expecting your call. Mr. Hart has arranged everything. A week later, Amanda sat in a large room at the Hart Innovations building. Ethan was in another room, playing piano for some people William had called talent evaluators. Amanda couldn't stop looking around at the clean white walls and glass doors. Everything looked expensive and important. The door opened and William walked in. He wore a simple black suit that probably cost more than Amanda made in a month. Thank you for coming, he said, sitting across from her. I've just spoken with Ethan's evaluators. Amanda sat up straighter. And? They say he has remarkable talent. With proper training, he could become exceptional. Amanda smiled with pride, but then frowned. Mr. Hart, I still don't understand. Why are you doing this for us? What do you want in return? William was quiet for a long moment. Then he reached into his pocket and took out a small photo. He handed it to Amanda. The photo showed a young woman sitting at a piano. She had the same blue eyes as William. My sister, Lisa, William said. She was a pianist, a good one. She died 10 years ago in a car accident. Amanda looked at the photo. I'm sorry for your loss. When I heard your son play, it reminded me of her. That same feeling in the music. William took back the photo carefully. Lisa never got the chances she deserved. I can make sure Ethan does. Amanda felt tears in her eyes. "Thank you," she whispered. William nodded. "There's something else. Something I'm working on that might interest both you and your son. A project that Lisa inspired." He stood up and gestured for Amanda to follow him. "Come. I want to show you something that very few people have seen. Something that might change music forever." Amanda followed him down a long hallway toward a door marked Project Harmony. She had no idea what waited on the other side, but she knew that her and Ethan's lives had already changed forever. William placed his hand on a small screen next to the door. A green light flashed and the door opened with a soft hiss. Amanda followed him into a large room filled with computers, strange machines, and what looked like a modified piano in the center. 5 people in white lab coats looked up when William entered. They all stood a bit straighter, like soldiers when an important officer walks in. "Mr. Hart," said a woman with gray hair pulled back in a tight bun. "We weren't expecting you today." "Change of plans, Dr. Mills," William replied. "This is Amanda Clark and her son Ethan will be joining us shortly. They need to see what we're doing here." Dr. Mills looked at Amanda with curious eyes but said nothing. The other scientists went back to their work, though Amanda could feel them watching her. "What is this place?" Amanda asked, looking around at all the equipment. William walked toward the strange piano in the center. It looked like a normal grand piano, but it had wires coming out of it. The wires connected to computers and machines that Amanda didn't understand. "Project Harmony," William said. "My sister Lisa was a brilliant pianist, but when she was 25, she began to lose feeling in her fingers, a nerve disease. The doctor said she would never play again." William ran his hand over the smooth surface of the piano. "I promised her I would find a way. I told her that technology could fix what medicine couldn't. I was working on the first versions of this when she died." Amanda looked at the piano with new understanding. "So this is for people who can't play normally?" "That's just the beginning," William said. "Dr. Mills, can you show Ms. Clark how it works?" The gray-haired woman nodded and came over. "The human brain creates patterns when we think about music. When we learn to play an instrument, those patterns become stronger, more defined." She pointed to a slim headband on a table nearby. "This device reads those patterns." "Like reading minds?" Amanda asked, feeling uneasy. "Not thoughts," Dr. Mills explained. "Just the specific patterns related to music. When someone who knows how to play thinks about playing, the machine can translate those patterns into actual music." William nodded. Lisa could still hear the music in her head. She just couldn't make her fingers work right anymore. This would have let her play again. "May I?" Dr. Mills asked, picking up the headband. Amanda hesitated, but then nodded. The scientist placed the thin band around Amanda's head. It felt cool against her skin. "Now, think about a song you know well," Dr. Mills instructed. Amanda closed her eyes. She thought about a lullaby she often sang to Ethan when he was little. Nothing happened. "It doesn't work for me," she said. "That's because you're not a trained musician," William explained. "Your brain hasn't developed those specific patterns yet." "But Ethan—" The door opened and Ethan came in with one of the evaluators. His eyes went wide when he saw all the equipment. "Wow," he said. "What is all this stuff?" William smiled slightly. It was the first real smile Amanda had seen from him. "This is where we make new things, Ethan. Would you like to try an experiment?" Ethan nodded eagerly. William looked at Amanda for permission. She hesitated but then nodded. Whatever this was, it seemed important to William, and the man had already done so much for them. Dr. Mills gently placed the headband on Ethan. "This won't hurt at all," she assured him. "Now, Ethan," William said, "I want you to sit at this piano, but don't touch the keys yet. Just think about how that Mozart piece you played at the restaurant. Imagine your fingers moving over the keys." Ethan closed his eyes, his small face scrunched up in concentration. For a moment, nothing happened. Then softly at first, the piano began to play. No one was touching it, but the keys moved down as if pushed by invisible fingers. The Mozart piece filled the room. Amanda gasped. Ethan's eyes flew open in surprise and the music stopped. "How did it do that?" he asked, looking at the piano with wonder. "It read the music from your mind," William explained. "Your brain knows exactly which keys to hit and when. The machine just makes it happen." "Try again," Dr. Mills encouraged. "But this time keep your eyes open and watch." Ethan closed his eyes again to concentrate, then opened them. He watched in amazement as the piano played the song he was thinking about. When he changed to a different song in his mind, the piano followed. "This is amazing," Amanda said. "But I still don't understand what this has to do with us." William turned to her. "The technology works, but it needs refinement. We need someone with natural talent to help us make it better, someone young whose brain is still developing its musical pathways." "You want to use my son as a test subject?" Amanda asked, her voice growing cold. "No," William said quickly. "As a partner. Ethan would get the best musical education in the world. He would work with us only when he wants to, only for short periods, and you would both be well paid for your time." Amanda looked at Ethan, who was still playing with the mind piano, his face filled with joy. "But why us?" she asked. "There must be many talented children out there." William was quiet for a moment. "When I saw you lift Ethan to that piano, I saw his passion for music, and I saw your support of his dream. That reminds me of my parents with Lisa. Besides," he added, "the restaurant was one of Lisa's favorites. I go there sometimes to feel close to her. It seemed like more than chance." Dr. Mills stepped forward. "Mr. Hart has been searching for the right person for this project for years. Your son's playing at the restaurant. It was the first time he's shown real interest in a potential candidate." Amanda watched Ethan playing with the strange piano. She had always wanted to give him every opportunity, but they never had enough money. Now this billionaire was offering Ethan a chance she could never provide on her own. "What exactly would this partnership mean?" she asked. William gestured for her to sit. "Ethan would come here twice a week after school. He would help test new versions of the technology. In return, he gets the best piano teachers in the country, a college fund, and you get a new job if you want it." "A new job?" Amanda asked, surprised. "We need someone to manage our new music education program," William explained. "Someone who understands the importance of giving children a chance to develop their talents regardless of their background." Amanda looked at Ethan again. He was completely absorbed in making the piano play with just his thoughts. "Can I think about it?" she asked. William nodded. "Of course. Take all the time you need." But looking at her son's face, Amanda already knew what her answer would be. This strange turn of events, starting with a billionaire watching her lift her son to a piano, was going to change their lives forever. "One last question," she said. "What happens when the project is finished? When you don't need Ethan anymore?" William looked her directly in the eyes. "The technology will help thousands of people who can no longer play due to injury or illness. It will also help teach music to children who never had the chance to learn. Ethan will always be part of that legacy, and Hart Innovations takes care of the people who help us change the world." For the first time since meeting William Hart, Amanda truly believed that the cold, serious billionaire might actually have a heart as big as his bank account. 6 months passed quickly. Amanda and Ethan's lives changed in ways they could never have imagined. They moved from their small apartment to a nicer one closer to Hart Innovations. The new place had 2 bedrooms and a study where a beautiful piano sat by the window. It was not the one from the restaurant, but a new one William had given them so Ethan could practice at home. Amanda now worked for Hart Innovations as the director of their new Music for All program. Her job was to find ways to bring music, education to children who couldn't afford it. She visited schools in poor areas and set up music rooms with pianos and other instruments. She also arranged for teachers to give free lessons to talented kids. Ethan still went to the same school, but now had piano lessons 3 times a week with Professor Garcia, one of the best teachers in the city. Twice a week, he visited the Hart Innovations lab to help with Project Harmony. The scientists there had become like a second family to him. On a sunny Tuesday afternoon, Amanda sat in William's office waiting for him. The office was large but simple. One wall was all windows looking out over the city. The only personal item was a photo of Lisa on his desk. William walked in and sat behind his desk. "Thank you for coming, Amanda." "You said it was important," she replied. William nodded. "Project Harmony is ready for the next step. We want to show it to the public." Amanda was surprised. "I thought that was still months away." "Ethan's help has moved things faster than we expected. The technology works better than we hoped." William leaned forward. "We want to hold a special concert, a demonstration that will show the world what we've created." "And you want Ethan to be part of it?" Amanda asked. "He would be the main part of it," William said. "But I won't do it without your full support." Amanda thought about it. 6 months ago, she would have said no right away. She would have wanted to protect her son from public attention. But now she trusted William. She had seen how much he cared about the project and about Ethan's well-being. "What exactly would this concert involve?" she asked. 3 parts, William explained. "First, Ethan plays normally to show his talent. Then he uses the headband to play without touching the keys. Finally, the big moment, he plays a duet." "A duet? With who?" William's face softened. "With Lisa." Amanda was confused. "But how?" "We have recordings of Lisa playing, and we have brain scans from before she got sick. Dr. Mills found a way to create a pattern that matches how Lisa would have played. The piano can play both Ethan's music and Lisa's at the same time." Amanda understood now. This wasn't just about showing off new technology. It was William's way of letting his sister play one last time. "When would this concert be?" she asked. 1 month from now. We would hold it at the Sherman Music Hall. Press would be there and some important people from the music world." William paused. "And Mr. Peterson from the restaurant, along with his boss and all the staff." Amanda smiled at that. It would be quite something for her old boss to see how far she and Ethan had come. "I'll talk to Ethan about it. If he wants to do it, we will." William nodded. "Thank you." 2 days later, they were in the lab. Ethan was testing a new version of the headband that was smaller and more comfortable. He played a complex piece by Chopin, his eyes closed in concentration. Dr. Mills watched the computer screens, taking notes. "His brain patterns are getting stronger," she told Amanda quietly. "He's developing pathways that most musicians don't have until they're much older." Amanda watched her son. He seemed so at home here among the computers and scientists. "He's happy," she said simply. "He's changing lives," Dr. Mills replied. "We've already tested the basic technology with 5 patients who lost the ability to play. 2 stroke victims, 1 with Parkinson's, and 2 with nerve damage like Lisa had. All of them were able to make music again." Ethan finished playing and took off the headband. "Did it work?" he asked eagerly. "Perfectly," Dr. Mills said with a smile. "You're getting better every time." William came into the lab. He did that often, just watching Ethan work with the scientists. He didn't say much, but Amanda had learned to read his expressions. The small changes in his usually serious face that showed he was pleased or excited about something. "Ethan," William said, "there's someone here who wants to meet you." An old man in a wheelchair came into the room. His hands were twisted with arthritis, the fingers bent at odd angles. He had white hair and kind eyes. "This is Mr. Frank Johnson," William said. "He was a concert pianist for 40 years until arthritis took away his ability to play." Ethan walked over to the man. "Hello, sir," he said politely. "Hello, young man," Mr. Johnson replied. His voice was deep and warm. "Mr. Hart tells me you're helping create something wonderful." Ethan nodded. "Would you like to try it?" The old man's eyes filled with tears. "More than anything." Dr. Mills brought over the headband and gently placed it on Mr. Johnson's head. The scientist helped wheel him to the piano. "Now just think about playing," Ethan instructed. "Think about a song you love." Mr. Johnson closed his eyes. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then slowly the piano began to play. It was a beautiful, sad melody that filled the room. The old man kept his eyes closed, tears running down his cheeks as the piano played the music that had been trapped in his mind for years. Everyone in the room was silent, watching this moment. Amanda looked at William and saw that his eyes were wet too. He quickly turned away when he noticed her looking. When the song ended, Mr. Johnson opened his eyes. "Thank you," he whispered. "Thank you for giving me back my music." That evening, as Amanda tucked Ethan into bed, he asked, "Mom, are we going to do the concert?" "Do you want to?" she asked. Ethan nodded. "I want to help people like Mr. Johnson, and I think Mr. Hart really wants to hear his sister play again." Amanda smiled and kissed his forehead. "Then we'll do it. I'm so proud of you, Ethan." As she turned out the light, she thought about how strange life was. 6 months ago, she had been a waitress struggling to make ends meet. Now she was helping run a program that would bring music to thousands of children, all because a billionaire had watched her lift her son to a piano. The next day, she told William they would do the concert. For the first time, she saw him truly smile. A big, genuine smile that made him look years younger. "Thank you," he said simply. The next 4 weeks were busy with preparations. Ethan practiced every day, both with the headband and without it. The scientists made final adjustments to the technology. Amanda helped plan the event, sending invitations and talking to the press. The night before the concert, Amanda found William sitting alone in the lab, looking at the special piano they would use tomorrow. "Are you nervous about tomorrow?" she asked. William looked up. "Yes," he admitted. "Not about the technology, it will work. I'm nervous about hearing Lisa play again." Amanda sat beside him. "What was she like?" "Your sister?" "Kind," William said softly. "Always laughing. She could light up a room with her smile. And when she played, it was like she became the music." "Sounds like she was a lot warmer than her brother," Amanda said with a small smile. To her surprise, William laughed. "Yes, she was. She always said I was too serious. She was right." He looked at Amanda. "Thank you for letting Ethan be part of this, for helping make Lisa's dream come true." "What dream was that?" Amanda asked. "To share music with everyone, regardless of their abilities or background." William stood up. "We should get some rest. Tomorrow is a big day." Amanda nodded. "Tomorrow we change the world." The Sherman Music Hall was filled with people. All 1,000 seats were taken. Important people from the music world sat in the front rows. Reporters and camera crews lined the back wall. In the middle section sat the entire staff from the Celestial restaurant, including Mr. Peterson, who kept looking around nervously. Backstage, Ethan wore a small black suit. He paced back and forth, taking deep breaths like his piano teacher had taught him to do before performances. Amanda adjusted his tie. "Are you ready, honey?" Ethan nodded. "I think so. There are so many people out there." "Just play like you always do," she said. "Pretend you're just in the lab with Dr. Mills." William appeared, also wearing a black suit. His face was serious, but Amanda could tell he was nervous too. This night meant everything to him. 5 minutes, he told them. He looked at Ethan. "Remember 3 parts. First you play normally, then with the headband, then the duet with your sister," Ethan finished. "I remember." William placed a hand briefly on Ethan's shoulder. "Thank you," he said quietly. Then he went out to the stage. The crowd applauded as William stepped up to the microphone. "Good evening," he said. "Thank you for coming. Tonight we will show you technology that will change how we think about music and the human brain." Explained about Project Harmony, about how it could help people who had lost the ability to play. He talked about his sister Lisa and how her struggle had inspired the project. His voice stayed calm and professional, but Amanda, watching from the side, could hear the emotion underneath. "And now," William said, "I would like to introduce Ethan Clark, a young pianist who has been essential to our work." Ethan walked onto the stage. He looked small next to the big grand piano, but he held his head high. The audience applauded as he sat down on the bench. Amanda felt tears in her eyes, remembering how she used to lift him up to reach the piano. Now he climbed up himself, confident and poised. Ethan began to play. He had chosen a piece by Beethoven, powerful and emotional. His small fingers moved quickly over the keys. The audience was silent, amazed by the skill coming from someone so young. When he finished, they erupted in applause. Ethan stood and bowed as William had taught him. William returned to the stage with Dr. Mills, who carried the special headband. For the next demonstration, William explained, Ethan will play without touching the piano at all. Dr. Mills placed the headband on Ethan's head. He sat with his hands in his lap, a foot away from the keys. He closed his eyes in concentration. The piano began to play. The same Beethoven piece, but this time the keys moved on their own, pushed by the invisible force of Ethan's thoughts. People in the audience gasped. Some stood up to see better. Cameras flashed as reporters took pictures of this impossible thing. When the piece ended, the applause was even louder than before. William raised his hands for quiet. "What you have just seen is only the beginning," he said. "Project Harmony can not only help people play again, but it can connect musicians across time and space." He looked at Ethan. "For our final demonstration, Ethan will play a duet with someone very special. My sister, Lisa Hart." A screen lowered from the ceiling. On it appeared a video of a young woman at a piano. She had long, dark hair and William's blue eyes. The video was old and a little fuzzy. "This is the last recording of my sister playing before her illness took away her ability," William explained. "Using brain scans and this video, we have recreated how she would play today." Dr. Mills adjusted something on the headband and nodded to Ethan. He placed his hands on the keys this time, ready to play his part. William stepped back, his eyes fixed on the screen showing his sister. The music began. Ethan played the main melody while the piano played another part on its own, the keys moving as if pushed by ghost fingers. On the screen, Lisa played the same notes from years ago. It sounded like two people playing together in perfect harmony, even though one of them had been gone for years. The piece they played was one Lisa had written herself. It started slow and sad but grew more hopeful as it went on. Amanda watched William's face. He stood completely still, tears running down his cheeks as he watched his sister play one last time. When the music ended, there was a moment of complete silence. Then the audience rose to their feet, applauding and cheering. Many people were crying. William finally moved, coming forward to hug Ethan tightly. Reporters rushed forward with questions. Doctors and musicians in the audience came up to learn more about the technology. The night was a complete success. Later, after all the reporters had left and the hall was nearly empty, Amanda found William sitting alone in a back row. "You did it," she said, sitting beside him. "The world knows about Project Harmony now." William nodded. "Yes, and now the real work begins. Getting this technology to the people who need it." "What happens next?" Amanda asked. "We open music centers across the country, places where children like Ethan can learn and where people who have lost their ability to play can make music again." He looked at her. "Your program will be a big part of that." Amanda smiled. "I'm ready." William was quiet for a moment. "I've been thinking about the restaurant." "Celestial?" Amanda asked, surprised. "Yes, I bought it last week." "You bought the entire restaurant? Why?" "I'm going to turn it into the first Music for All center. The piano will stay right where it is, but now anyone can play it." He almost smiled. "Mr. Peterson can stay if he wants, but he'll be working for you now." Amanda laughed at the thought. "Life is strange, isn't it? A few months ago I was serving you dinner. Now I'm running your music program and you're buying restaurants for me." "For the children," William corrected. But this time, he did smile. 1 year later, Amanda stood in the center of what used to be the Celestial restaurant. The tables were gone, replaced by pianos and other instruments. Children of all ages played music while teachers moved among them, offering help and encouragement. One wall held a large photo of Lisa Hart at her piano, smiling. In the center, where the original piano still stood, Ethan helped an elderly woman with the special headband. Her fingers were twisted with arthritis, but as she put on the headband, the piano began to play beautiful music. Her face lit up with joy. Across the room, William watched quietly. He still didn't smile much in public, but Amanda knew he was happy. Project Harmony had spread to 50 cities now. Thousands of people who thought they would never play again were making music, and children who could never afford lessons were learning to play, all because a billionaire had watched a waitress lift her son to a piano and decided to do something about it. As the music filled the room, Amanda thought about how one small moment can change everything, how one act of kindness can spread and grow, how music could connect people across all barriers, and she knew this was just the beginning.